have an opinion on crossovers, Ann?
Um, pretty much like Ben said, it depends on how well you do it. I'm not like philosophically opposed to it, but and I fucking love watching Godzilla fight with anything. But
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. Oh, I hope it's fun. If they fuck up like King Kong versus Godzilla, that's something we need to start riots over.
I just thought of another literary example, and it was one of my favorites from last year. Pillowface versus the Lurkers, I think, by Christopher Ruffty. And Pillowface is a badass character anyway. So that's another example.
You were really big on the idea of Pillowface versus that
Brain Chew versus Ruffy's Brain Chew versus Pillowface. But you remember during that interview, Ruffy came up and on his own with hey, we could do Pillowface versus the Big Head by Edward Lee, the Big Head, and that might even be more appropriate. And he knows Ed Lee, and I wonder if he's ever brought that up to Ed Lee since. I doubt it, but.
Yeah, maybe and so. There's been a few of those. What was it? There was Clickers versus the Zombies from the Rising or something like that.
I got a good one for you. Clickers versus Creakers. Creakers are another monster created by Edward Lee. You got Brian. It's Jose Gonzalez's Clickers, right? Versus Edward Lee's Creakers. Okay.
Let's hear about your. Oh, wait, Regina, tell us about what you think about crossovers or not crossovers, whatever you want to call these things.
Crossovers. You know what? One of my favorite crossovers is Alien vs. Predator, both the video game and the movie. I thought the movie was really fun. It's it's not good. It's not Shakespeare, right. But it's fun, and I have fun memories of going to see it in the theaters. It was, so, I don't know. Same thing, I really like a good comic book crossover too. So I like, seeing sometimes DC and Marvel cross paths every once in a while, as long as Batman wins, which is the only possible ending to anything. That's all that really matters. But, so, I'm cool with it. But I also I definitely agree with Brigger. Did you know that Jane Austen fan fiction, just in general, is its own genre that's very popular and wide selling on Amazon? It's even so popular.
Someone who never got laid in real life, I bet Jane Austen has been laid more than any other person in fiction.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, I just I've never read Jane Austen, so I can't really say whether or not I like that, right? But I don't want to read about the Pride and Prejudice and zombies. That's just terrible.
Well, that kind of shit is trying to have it both ways. Look, I read literature, but I'm hip enough to do genre fiction, and I know somebody at a publishing company, so look at this shit, and you're just like.
Right. Yeah. So Jeremy, you brought this up for a reason, and I want to hear about it.
Well, one thing I thought of was Nick Mamadis' book Move Underground, which is the Beats versus Cthulhu. Mm-hmm. I couldn't really get into that book, to be honest.
Really?
I should have. I feel like I should have.
That's because you're illiterate.
I still haven't read that one, so.
I mean, there are funny moments. There's a hilarious moment where Jack Kerouac is trying to throw William S. Burroughs onto a train and keeps throwing him onto the sides of closed ones by accident. That part's pretty hilarious. But for the most part, I don't know, it just didn't connect with me.
Okay, so the premise is E.T. finally comes back to Earth, okay, to see Elliot again after all this time. And he goes to the same house, assuming that it's that's still Elliot's residence. But now it is occupied by Billy from Gremlins. Okay? Now Billy is trying to manage an aging Mogwai and he has to constantly lie to veterinarians to say, "Oh no, my dog or my cat is too sick to even go outside. Please, can you just give me the medicine and I can take it home?" And he manages to get medicine out to Gizmo that way. But Gizmo's getting older. he accidentally feeds some of the medicine to Gizmo after midnight, and he starts turning into starts exhibiting symptoms of turning into a gremlin. E.T. finds a way into the house, and he heals Gizmo. Okay, so now Billy's got this freaky alien he's never seen before in his house, and Gizmo, who's still sick, he's not entirely healed or cured from the gremlin thing, and but E.T. can sense that Elliot is somewhere in that area, whether it be that neighborhood, that state. He can just feel him nearby somehow.
With his heart light.
Huh?
His heart light.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God, that was the worst song.
Okay, and
thanks for putting that in my head.
So gremlins start popping up off of Gizmo's skin again, right? Isn't that what happened in the first Gremlins? Yep. They popped off of him and turned into evil mogwais and then gremlins or something, right? So that starts happening again, I guess. And so for half of the movie, Billy would be dealing with E.T. and somehow Gizmo would get lost, and he would end up with Elliot somehow for half the movie. They would be changing, weird looking creatures for half the movie, and then they'd all end up together about midway to the end, in this big smash because the government has detected ET's ship, or somebody saw the Mogwai Gizmo that wasn't supposed to and told called animal control. You got all these elements smashing together at the end, with Billy and E.T. and Elliot and Gizmo, coming together and say, all right, we got to do this, and let's go. We don't have much time, whatever, but I mean, it's E.T. versus Gremlins, basically.
I mean,
he could use his powers as for offense, not just positive things. He could use it for destructive reasons to protect them from the Gremlins.
Sounds like more fun than the original E.T.
I know.
Yeah.
Now tell me this wouldn't be a good crossover. If I could get someone from a studio to listen to it, I swear, would you not
I would
co-write
it with you, Jeremy, if you got me the money that it would warrant, right? I mean, if they paid me about $3 to $5 million, I would write it. So get on
this is like our fantasy show.
It is. This is The Quiet Place. This is The Quiet Place in everyone's brain. This is where you say all that stuff. So why would
I would have no desire to write it for any with
what about just for the
fan
love,
fiction thing, right?
For the love.
No, never write that for the love.
Write for the love.
I would never write anybody else's sandbox for the love. You have to pay me.
Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, yeah.
Because there are enough characters in my head that I could keep writing every day I'm awake until I die and not get done. Why would I write in somebody else's sandbox if they're not paying me?
I don't see them as sandbox. You know what I see as sandbox? All of fiction is one big sandbox to me. That's why I can pick up on similarities between things. I could think this would be a good crossover between these two. This is related to that totally. That looks totally unrelated over there, and somewhere in there, maybe my characters will exist someday. That's how I see. I see the whole art of storytelling as one big sandbox universe. That's how I view it.
So you're a communist.
A what?
So you're a communist.
Oh, come on.
I'm
just innocent and make it.
Just read The Tower, Stephen King's The Tower, over and over again for the rest of your life.
But as far as
Tower,
yeah, as far as for something like that, besides the fact that you'd either have to pay to use it or be paid to write that, then if I could somehow, no way in hell I'll ever have the connections to do it. But if somehow I could get the connections to do that and get paid decently for writing a script like that, sure, I'd do it.
Here's the thing. I'd be willing to give it to a studio for free if I could see it on the screen.